Authorities have not revealed the whereabouts of 17 passengers from New Zealand who unexpectedly flew into Melbourne last night via Sydney. They were travelling as part of new trans-Tasman quarantine-free travel bubble, which is currently only between New Zealand, New South Wales and the Northern Territory. Our reporter Margaret Paul has more from Melbourne.
Last night, these 17 passengers arrived in Sydney as part of the trans-Tasman travel bubble. From there, they managed to get on a flight from Sydney to Melbourne. Now, Victoria is not part of the trans-Tasman travel bubble, so authorities here were not expecting to receive passengers from New Zealand, but they did. And the DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services here in Victoria, has released a statement explaining that they are not authorised to restrain people at the airport. So it's not clear what happened to those 17 travellers after that. My questions relate to what happened in Sydney when they landed. When they landed in Sydney from New Zealand, was there an expectation that they remain in Sydney? How was that communicated? All these questions. The Department of Health and Human Services has just said that they have made it clear to the Commonwealth that we expect New Zealand passengers who've not undertaken quarantine will not be permitted to board those flights in Sydney bound for Melbourne. So we still have a lot of questions as to what's happened, how these passengers were able to fly from Sydney to Melbourne. The latest number is 1. It's the loneliest number, and for Victorians it's the best number. There was only 1 new case recorded overnight and 0 deaths. Now this brings Melbourne's 14-day average down to 8.1. For regional Victoria, it's down to 0.5, and the cases with an unknown source across Victoria, that number remains stable at 17. Now, the numbers, everyone in Victoria and across Australia knows that those numbers are crucial because Daniel Andrews tomorrow is expected to give a briefing on what will happen next for Melbourne and regional Victoria as we ease restrictions. Now, he has given some indication as to what that easing will look like. He said that we are in a good position to be able to ease some restrictions, but it won't be everything that people want. And he's hinted last week that it will be around social things in Melbourne. So one of the things that he said that will be looked at is the number of people who can gather outdoors. At the moment, it's 5 people across 2 households. Will that number be expanded from tomorrow? Another thing that Melburnians are hoping might be on the cards for tomorrow, they've confirmed that it is on the table for discussion, is the 5-kilometre rule. So at the moment, people in Melbourne can only travel within 5 kilometres of their house for exercise and shopping. Of course, they can go beyond that for work if they're a permitted worker or for other essential reasons. But there has been talk this week that perhaps that could be expanded to 20 kilometres. So those are the kinds of things that we're expecting. Of course, businesses are really hoping that there'll be some relief there, particularly for outdoor businesses, things like landscape gardeners who've had quite heavy restrictions on the way that they're allowed to operate in Melbourne. Will those kinds of outdoor activities and things like tennis and golf be allowed to happen in Melbourne from next week? We'll find all that out tomorrow, and that number of 1 really does give us heart, because the Premier said yesterday those decisions about what's in, what's out, what's on the table, what's off the table, those decisions and discussions will continue today and even starting tomorrow morning. So those numbers really do give us some hope.